Hello there. Minority in Parliament demands speedy prosecution of people they call thugs in the Odododiodio Constituency who allegedly assaulted NDC MP for the area. We have more as they say this is not the first time an NDC MP has been assaulted. We'll also bring you more from the PAC Sitting. Also coming up, some corporate organizations institutionalize maternal leave as the debate rages over its feasibility in Ghana. This afternoon, we discuss paternity leave. Is it seriously practicable? What about extending maternity leave days? We engage HR professionals, but we want to hear from you. So drop us your thoughts and your comment on our social media handles. The National Science and Maths Quiz bounces back this year despite COVID-19. I engaged the 2019 champions from St. Augustine's College later on the show on what has become of their lives after the national exposure. Those are top stories this hour. Join us with your thoughts and questions. You can also watch us live on YouTube or on DSTV 421, GoTV 144. We're also streaming live on Facebook. My name is Gifty Andwapia. This is The Pulse. Please be my guest. Chairman of Parliament's Public Account Committee, James Avedzi, is calling on the Office of the Special Prosecutor and Charge to speed up investigations into the alleged sale of contracts by CEO of the Public Procurement Authority, Ejenim Boateng Ejay. In August last year, a documentary by investigative journalist Manasseh Azariawini revealed the CEO formed the company Talent Discovery Limited in 2017 after his appointment as head of the authority. The company, after winning contracts through restrictive tendering processes, allegedly further sells it to the highest bidder. After the broadcast of the documentary, President Akufo-Addo directed the suspension of the CEO and referred the case to Charge and the Office of the Special Prosecutor for investigations. More than a year on, the outcome of the investigation has yet to become public. One officials of the authority appeared before Parliament's Public Accounts Committee this morning to respond to audit queries in the 2017 Auditor General's report. They were led by Acting CEO Frank Mante. James Avedzi told JoyNews after the sitting the delay in completion of the investigation is negatively impacting confidence in the institution.
And a member of parliament is assaulted. Why should a member of parliament be assaulted? What is the crime? What is the offense of the member of parliament that he should be assaulted? He is a people's representative. If you assault him in his constituency, if you also want to, if you get to know the people who assault him, and he also want to retaliate, what will happen? There's going to be this fight here and there. So that it's not proper to assault a member of parliament. In fact, it's not proper to assault anybody at all, because Ghana is a peaceful country. We urge the police to up their game so that the people who assaulted a member should quickly be found out. They should be arrested and has been accused of doing the wrong thing. And that civil servant agreeing to refund the money. And I said, that is not the first time, because we have a number of times recommended for civil servants who have embezzled public funds to refund the money, even with interest. So the CEO was using the provision of the Act. I think I say Section 30 of the Act, where the civil servant, or the former CEO, was accused of doing the wrong thing, and he has accepted. That is what we call negotiated terms or something like that. So that was just pointing it to him that that is not the first time. So he should not say that for the first time. And
that's regular practice. It happens.
It happens.
And it's not out of place.
No, it's not out of place, because it's something that has been negotiated. Probably, I'm not sure that the 15 million that he was asked to pay was what the exact amount which was he took. He took far less than that, because the interest was accrued on it. So it's like paying the principal with the accrued interest.
Which for you is enough punishment?
It's enough punishment, yes.
You're asking about the whereabouts of the CEO of the Public Procurement Authority when they came in. Were you satisfied with the response that you got?
Yeah, because he says that he's under investigation. That is why the current one is an acting CEO of the Public Procurement Authority. I think that it was a public information some time back when the CEO was involved in some kind of procurement sale of contracts. Documented by him. So that is why he was asked to step aside for investigation. So the answer provided by the current acting CEO is in order. It confirms what we heard in the public. I asked it purposely because just to confirm that what we've been hearing in the public domain, on the social media, in the news is actually true. So he has confirmed.
It's been almost a year. If my memory serves me right, this incident was about 7-8 months ago. To the extent that the investigation is still ongoing, he's still on suspension, no conclusive decision has been taken. Is that good enough?
I'm not sure it's good enough. We think within a year or within six months, they should be able to conclude the investigation. But I don't know how the issues involved are. So in a normal case, it should be an investigation that should be done within the shortest possible time. But it's over a year now, because if you look at the time that the current acting CEO was asked to take over, he took over in July 2019. We're in September 2020, so it's over a year. So we should be expecting the outcome of that investigation, so that if there is a need for the CEO who was accused of to be set free or prosecuted, we should be hearing that for now.
How does that affect the stability and the management of the institution if some of these investigations are lingering on for such a lengthy period, and even the integrity of the people and the integrity of the organization at the level of the PPA, which is supposed to supervise procurement contracts? And in this case, there was an alleged sale of contract by the PPA. How does
it doesn't give any good image of the organization, because people will still be thinking that this organization, who is supposed to manage the procurement, itself is involved in the sale of contract documents. So if that issue still linger on without clearing the air, people might not have confidence in the work of that organization. So it will definitely affect the performance of the organization.
And the expectation of the security agencies and the government, the presidency, which say these issues are still being looked into, what will be your expectation of them?
My expectation is that they should speed up with the work. It's a continuous delay in this type of issues. It doesn't give any good image about the institutions involved and government itself and the security agencies. So I'm not sure that it is being done intentionally. But if it is being done intentionally, it doesn't give any good image of the institution itself.
Could it be the case that it's been done intentionally? So the case drags on and
no, that is why I say I'm not sure that is it. But if it is done intentionally, then it's not good. It's better the speed up the work, give out the outcome of the investigation quickly. If there's somebody need to be prosecuted, the person is done, prosecuted as early as possible, so that Ghanaians will have confidence in the public institutions.
Let's get on the phone and talk to Joseph Opoku Gakpo, who is standing by for us. Hello, Joseph. Hello, Joseph.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Right, Joseph, let's start from the Public Accounts Committee sitting today. Did work stall today at the sitting because of the outstanding case and the fact that Mr. A.J. Nimeje his fate has still not been determined?
Far from that. In terms of the interrogation of the officials from the Public Procurement Authority, as far as the issues that have been captured in the 2017 Auditor General's report are concerned, that is actually a conversation that went on without any form of hindrance. If my memory serves me, there were about 3 different queries that had actually been raised by the Auditor General as far as the administration of the PPA in 2017 were concerned. The acting CEO had the specific responses to those queries which he went on to outline alongside other officials of the authority who were present at the committee sitting.
Which other issues came up today at the committee sitting, Joseph? Yesterday was pretty heated.
Today, apart from the Public Procurement Authority appearing, there was also appearance by officials from the Ghana Cocoa Board and also the Bank of Ghana. Essentially, concerns that came up had to do with monies that had to be moved in connection with taxes and all that had not been dealt with satisfactorily as far as the Auditor General was concerned. But the main issue in dealing with that had to do with the Venture Capital Fund. You know that that's actually an agency that government has set up to provide loans to individuals in order to facilitate their businesses and all. The CEO of the Venture Capital Fund disclosed that they had had some difficulty with money that had been moved by the previous CEO and also other officials who governed it before 2017. That has actually gone into ghost accounts, and there was some form of malfeasance, which he said that the former CEO had actually agreed to refund about 15 million Ghana cedis after prosecution started at the level of the Auditor General, at the level of the Attorney General. The current CEO indicated that those necessary processes are ongoing to recover the said amount, and he went on to say that there's been a lot of fraudulent deals, including monies that were moved in the names of people who were virtually unaware of all of those. Those are some of the issues that came up, but the committee couldn't interrogate a lot of it because, again, the CEO explained that some bits of it were in court, and the Attorney General was actually dealing with some of those. From tomorrow, the Public Accounts Committee will continue sitting with expected appearance by a number of officials, including from the Electricity Company of Ghana.
Well, Joseph, let's talk about the demand by the minority. Is it just linked to what the chair of the Public Accounts Committee said, or are there further concerns being raised by other members of the minority in terms of speeding up this prosecution?
That's actually Deputy Minority Leader James Kluche Avedzi.
Right.
You recall that when this particular issue broke up sometime last year about the alleged malfeasance at the Public Procurement Authority that had led to the suspension of the CEO, the minority had made a number of demands insisting that they would want to see a situation where the CEO was dealt with according to law and that there is some form of cleanup at the level of the Public Procurement Authority. This is just in furtherance of that, with the Deputy Minority Leader, James Avedzi, making the point that unless those issues that came up are dealt with, public confidence in the institution will not be guaranteed. And he was very much worried that although the PPA was allegedly involved in the sale of contracts, and after the president himself intervened and directed investigations, nothing much has been seen over the last 1 year or so. I'm
wondering how the officials from the PPA who came responded or reacted to this. Now, this is a new person who's taken over, but certainly some baggage there to take over as well.
He was asked at the sitting, in terms of Mr. Frank Mante, who is the acting chief executive, he was asked at the sitting where his boss is, the CEO himself is, and he gave a short explanation that the CEO himself is on interdiction, is on suspension, following issues of investigation that had to be done. But he went on to make the point that they had all the necessary responses to the queries that had been raised by the Auditor General, and then him and the other officials responded to the said queries. This was a conversation that lasted for about 15 to 20 minutes, and then they were discharged from the sitting of the Public Accounts Committee.
Finally, Mr. Avedzi is also worried about the attacks that they say are being meted out on members of parliament, particularly NDC members of parliament. Was this a question that you directly put to him, or was it something that worries them enough that they raised it up themselves?
So this didn't come up at the sitting of the Public Accounts Committee itself. This was well after the sitting was done, and in interviews with Mr. Avedzi about how the sitting went and other issues relating to the minority in parliament, then it came up for a conversation, and he made the point that at the level of the minority, this is not the first time that they are seeing any of their members of parliament being attacked. He referred to the incident in Dumasi during the voter registration exercise when Bawa Brahma was allegedly assaulted as well and was unable to show up in parliament for some time because he had to spend some time recovering in hospital and all. For Mr. Avedzi, this is something that has been perpetuated by those on the other side of the political divide, and he thinks it's about time that they put brakes on that, because for him, it doesn't augur well for the democracy of the country, and that no one should face any form of assault by any individual as a result of election-related activity.
Right. Sitting continues tomorrow, I believe. That's
correct. Other officials will be appearing before the committee, including the Electricity Company of Ghana and a number of other state agencies. This is actually a session that's continuing tomorrow to Friday all the way to next week. And again, the interesting bit is they're examining the report of the Auditor General from 2017, the indication being that there is still sitting a backlog of that of 2018, that of 2019, and that of 2020, which has just begun. So it looks like there's a lot of work they have to do even before the House prepares for its final break to make way for the 8th Parliament from January next year.
And hopefully due diligence as well. Joseph, thank you so much for the updates that you've brought us today. Joseph Opoku Gakpo is our parliamentary affairs correspondent right there on the ground for us. But in the meantime, the minority in parliament is calling on the police to speed up, to step up its game and speedily prosecute people they are calling thugs in the Odododiodio Constituency who allegedly assaulted NDC MP for the area, Nilante Vandapoy. Deputy Minority Leader James Kluche Avedzi has been saying that members of the governing party are behind the attack. We'll hear from him shortly, but earlier my colleague Manuel Kranting returned to Jamestown where the incident occurred. He's been speaking to some of the residents there.
Specifically at the Jamestown police station. And indeed, this is the place where the event happened, if you like, the incident, the attack, the alleged attack on the Member of Parliament for the Odododiodio Constituency, the Honorable Nilante Vandapoy. In fact, this is what is left of his official vehicle from Parliament. Tires burst from what we hear attacks from the gentleman who allegedly attacked him. Well, the people here are quite tight-lipped. Nobody wants to really talk because they feel a bit, apprehensive. They feel that, well, anytime there is a build-up to election, well, these incidents are recorded. You remember that in 2012, there was an attack on the Honorable Esla Owusu. In 2016, there was a parliamentary debate organized here for the parliamentary candidates. That event degenerated into, a scuffle. People sustained knife wounds and so on and so forth. And so I've been trying to get a number of people to talk to me, on what exactly they feel about this, incessant violent incidents here in the constituency.
The way the way now feel politics be different. I feel a part. Okay, mokoina anu kwale po alonu ko e. Ko we no wana envy. Ko to ai ni po mokodi wana. Because the way now me feel politics be different. Because me no ni happy. Ken ke bo ake e mi share embe mi share yi. Because e ka ma embe mi share mi ne wo any fege mo na yi. Onuji me no ma we na gan. Because let's start.
Okay, let's start.
4 years ago, Belen they start. Lene yana jiji me gani bi. Ni mene use ka yi me no ni fio na gani bi no. Lene start tem ingeni ba beni million ni kegbe e ba yini la tebana ma e yizo la hun ye bi en ni formal ni assembly ma ile bi ya police station ni no onuji amana yi esla gani bi onuji no that's no ona ge bogame wo you no ka tona ge to atete onuji mi imbe mi she aga no ni happy sane happy.
He's telling me that he's not happy with the incident that went down yesterday in relation to the MP, but he alleges that all this started from the MP himself. He mentions 2012 and says that the MP had arranged for boys to go and attack the Esla Owusu. Also mentions that in 2016, the current parliamentary candidate of the NPP, Nilante Banaman, was also assaulted by the sitting MP, Nilante Vandapoy. And so for him, Nilante Vandapoy called this upon himself.
Ni ogele pan gbe no eto asi bo wa yile alo wa take advantage eno afi no le gbenwe na kan
si nakamaje ni be no happy o ka ke nke bo pan gbe no betra ka wa yibo
sometimes say if you want more revenge ona ekole mugwe fe bonuku o boni bona advantage bo afile ku no meji no ni gena gamajani bieba.
He's telling me that it's a matter of, revenge and reprisals, so that if somebody wrongs people, then when they get to their advantage, they also want to return the favor. And he's calling that these acts, be abandoned.
Manuel Cranting there in Jamestown. Now, this is the second such attack on an MP in the last 3 months alone. In July, Member of Parliament for Ejura Setre Dumase Mohammed Bawa Brima was also allegedly assaulted during the voter registration exercise. Mr. Avedzi says it's about time strong signals are sent to those attacking NDC MPs to stop.
Definitely, we should be worried. And a member of Parliament is assaulted. Why should a member of Parliament be assaulted? What is the crime? What is the offense of the member of Parliament that he should be assaulted? He is a people's representative. If you assault him in his constituency, if you also want to, if you get to know the people who assault him, and he also want to retaliate, what will happen? There's going to be this fight here and there. So that it's not proper to assault a member of Parliament. In fact, it's not proper to assault anybody at all, because Ghana is a peaceful country. We urge the police to up their game so that the people who assaulted the member should quickly be found out. They should be arrested and find out why they should assault a member of Parliament and why anybody at all should be assaulted. It's not good for us as a country.
He indicated he will be writing to the Speaker in connection with this. At the level of the leadership of Parliament, are there any actions being taken to ensure that some of these things don't occur?
We are waiting to hear full briefing from the member concerned. Then we'll give the appropriate advice on what the member should do. So as we speak now, we do not have that opportunity to meet the member for briefing. So once that is done, the member will take an action. And one of them actually is to write to the Speaker of Parliament for the concern of the leadership of the minority and the concern of the member himself.
Attention is being drawn to it that this is like the second incident in about 3 or 4 months. The first one involved the Ejura Setre Dumase MP, Brima. What could be done to stop some of these situations once and for all, to ensure adequate protection for members of Parliament as they go around their constituencies doing their duties as the people should?
Now, I think that we should send strong signal to those people who are doing that. And you will see clearly that the assault or the issue is affecting members of Parliament from the minority. It means that the first suspect should be members of the government party, the members of the government party who are the first suspect. Because if you are attacking members of Parliament and these members of Parliament are coming from only the minority, you think that there are some people behind that even if I'm arrested, I'll be cleared. So they have some power behind them. Now,
how can you be 100% certain that really it's about people having authority from the level of
happening to only the minority members of Parliament? You understand? Only the minority members of Parliament. Is it coincidence that members of Parliament who are minority side are assaulted? And the assault are all related to the election. Registration process, campaigning, all get towards the election. So why should the members of the minority, only they should be suffering from this?
Should Parliament be invoking some statutes and, asserting its authorities?
I'm not sure what power Parliament has here to do, because sometimes you don't even know when the issue will occur. So all that we can say is that the police should up their game so that anytime this thing happens, action should be taken, the people should be brought to book, they should be punished, so that others will know that if I do this, I'll be fished out, I'll be punished. And so for that matter, if somebody is asking you to go and do certain things of this nature, you will not go and do it.
Thank you.
Our security and political analysts have called on the country's security agencies to clamp down speedily on perpetrators of violence ahead of the December elections. Security expert Adam Bona is worried lessons have not been learned from the Ayawaso Westwood gone by election violence. He spoke earlier on the AM show.
And I'm happy you have Sheikh on the other side of the line, especially he being, a clergy. He belongs to those we would have to fall on when issues are getting out of hand. Because then, whether you like it or not, the churches and the mosques are going to be open. People listen to people like him and the chief imam and, the Christian council and all that. I think that some form of dialogue would have to start if it hasn't started. And the security agencies would have to act. I listened to Honorable Nevandapoy, I think, on, this morning, and I think last night I listened to him talking, and you can see that he's in pain. And as to whether these people have been arrested, and if they haven't been arrested, then that will not be deterring enough, because then we have just about less than 100 days to the general elections, both parliamentary and presidential. If these things are not done, ensuring that people are punished when they take the laws into their own hands, then we are going to see probably an increase with regards to violence when we get to the polls. And that area, there are few things the police would have to do. But the security task force, places like that have always been in the news when it comes to elections and electoral violence. Let's put those places under siege. Let's ensure that we have, heavy presence of the police, the, security task force, who would have to ensure that the place is properly protected. If not, I can say I'm not being a prophet of doom, but what I've heard from the people, some of them who have called me, means that they are preparing probably for a battle in that area, which for me is not the way we should go as a nation. It's just going to the polls and casting your ballot.
TENGE, Pierre for the Accra Region Police. Hello, AFIA. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Hello. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon. So yesterday, this story broke. We had the Member of Parliament for Odododiodio Constituency complain about what happened in Jamestown. What updates does the police have on this case so far?
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, we have a verbal report from the Honorable Minister for the Odododiodio. That was 3 days ago when the incident happened. And immediately, the police officers who were then in the yard had to take him to safety. And after that, they escorted him out of the police premises. And so the police handed him a statement form and also a medical report form. Because for you to report a case of assault, the police will begin investigation based on the statement you have given us. Probably the people you are saying have assaulted you, you identify the person to us by way of writing, and all these are the details that we get in the statement form. So from that day, the Honorable Minister has taken the statement forms away. That is the statement and also the medical report form. But we are yet to receive that from him. I understand the commander in the area have tried reaching him on a number of through phone calls to let him come and bring the statement form and also the medical report. That is if he has attended hospital. So the police can proceed on that, but we have not had that yet. In fact, I was told that today he said he'd be coming around 2 p.m. Just before I came on air, I had to call and check, but I was told that we are still not being at the police station. So the police will also need that to be able to continue with the investigation that we want to do.
So let's revisit the situation, what occurred in Jamestown yesterday. This whole action happened right in front of a police station. Have you had any engagement with the Jamestown police, and what report do they give you?
My information is that the issue happened on the blind side of the police. And even the few police officers who were there, had to quickly run in when they heard a noise out there to go and assist the Honorable Minister and also bring him to safety. And at that time, they tried as much as they can to make sure that he's protected. And so that is exactly what the police who were there on duty did. And so we are yet to also continue with the investigation based on the statement. And also, we have also heard on air that a number of persons' names have been mentioned. And when we get the form, I believe that it will also help the police a lot in that regard.
So as it stands, there hasn't been any arrests?
Yes, the arrest of who?
I'm asking you.
Yes. You know, police work with the information, okay? And if Gifty should walk into any police station and says that, oh, I have been assaulted, the first thing the police will do is to take formal statements from you. And the very people that are or have assaulted you, to give the names to the police, and the police will follow up. So the police would definitely do what is expected of them. And so that statement form is very crucial here. And so I would expect that we give the police the time to work on this. And any updates will definitely be communicated.
Okay. Is the police looking to contact any of the people that the Member of Parliament mentioned in the reports that he gave to you, the statement he gave to you?
No, what I'm saying is he's yet to give us that statement. Of course, if you say somebody has assaulted you, and as you have always done, once you report any case of assault, you know those who assaulted you. And as I indicated, it happened at the blind side of the police. Okay, so once the people are identified to us, definitely, as we have done, if we can reach them wherever they are. I just spoke to the commander, and he has given me his word that whatever it takes for him to be able to identify those persons once their names have been given, definitely he will do that. And I trust the competence of that officer. So let us wait for them to do what they have to do. First and foremost, after that statement and also the medical form that has already been issued to the Honorable Minister is received. Okay. Then the police will continue from there.
My understanding right now, as it stands, is that Mr. Nilanti van der Poy has given you a verbal statement. You're waiting for him to give you a written statement, and then upon that you can take further actions. You say also that this happened on the blind side of the Jamestown police. My final question, though, will be from the narration. It sounded as if the Jamestown police at the time was overwhelmed. We understand that they had to call in backup at a point. Jamestown, of course, is one of the flashpoints when it comes to elections, and it's been identified as such. Is the police there well equipped to handle some of these cases that come up?
Yes, I know the police is equipped there. And as I indicated, a number of people thronged the police station. And so the officers who were there had to help and make sure that no one harmed the Honorable Minister when the information got to them. And so immediately the police on duty did what was expected of them. And I think I've even heard him in a number of interviews saying so. And when they realized that we can't tell, maybe they will also attract some people. So definitely looking at the situation, we needed to call for reinforcement. And as you can see, the regional headquarters is not so far away from the Jamestown police station. And also, we have to also, and this thing happened around 10:33 and thereabouts, event also taking into consideration the patrol teams and the rest. So if the Jamestown police thinks that the issue or the situation at hand calls for reinforcement of the police, I think nothing stops them from doing so. And I want to believe that they are okay. They should be okay.
The Jamestown police station is not one that can easily get overwhelmed, especially as we near the elections, given the nature of elections in that area.
So I don't think so. I don't think so.
DSP AFIA TENGE, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. DSP AFIA TENGE speaks for the Accra Region Police. You're still watching The Pulse with me, Gifty and Dopia. We'll take a very quick break. When we return, we're talking about paternity leave. Some cooperating organizations have already institutionalized paternity leave, but the debate is still raging. Is it even feasible? How practicable, seriously, is it? What about extending maternity leave days? We'll be engaging HR professionals, and we want to hear from you as well. Send us a WhatsApp message on 0540109009. You can drop us messages on our Facebook and our Twitter or our Instagram handles, and we'll share it with the rest of the world. Just stay with us. We'll be right back.
They are JoyNews' longest serving storytellers. Seen it all in the platform's 25-year journey.
It's one of the most intense environments you can ever be in.
14 years, wow, what a transformation.
So what are their stories?
When I was in Cape Coast UCC, 6 a.m., midday news, 6 p.m., all your lecturers are listening, all your friends are listening, then your name is mentioned, he said, come and watch. It was a big deal, no?
I was a bit apprehensive because, you know, I'd heard of all these big names, Komla Dumo and, Matilda Asante, and I was apprehensive. I didn't know whether I would fit in there.
I knew I was going to be a journalist when I was in JSS 1.
I don't think a lot of organizations can boast of being around for 25 years and thriving.
There are many things in society that wouldn't have been without Joy FM.
In the news, on TV, radio, and online.
Welcome back to the show. Many thanks for staying with us here on The Pulse. Now, women and men start in workplaces together with an equal chance, yet only a few are in leadership positions. One of the biggest challenges is caregiving, which has historically been a female responsibility. Well, there are two big issues that women face. The first is work-life balance, and the second is hiring bias. Think about what may potentially go through a hiring manager's mind when interviewing a woman of childbearing age versus a man. Well, now things have changed, and the call to give men some time off to also practice parenting and relieve the women to return to work is now louder than ever. Guinness Ghana Limited was the first to adopt this strategy here in Ghana. Now Vodafone has also adopted it. But I dare ask, is maternity for fathers, paternity leave as they call it, a good idea? What are the prerequisites for introducing it? In some European countries like Norway, Sweden, and Iceland, this is mandatory. Well, we spoke to some of you on the street of Accra, and here is what you think.
I think it will help the mothers because still after three months after birth, the mother will not have enough health to work at his normal job. So if it is extended, it will help both the mother and the child.
And how many months do you think will be ideal?
Oh, the 4 or 5 will be okay. The 4 or 5 will be okay because of the breastfeeding too. The child is supposed to be breastfed for 6 months. So this is disturbing most of the mothers. You have to leave the child at a daycare, and how to move to that child to feed the child is a challenge. So if it's extended, it will be a great joy to the mothers.
Extending it to that extra mile would affect the productivity in Ghana, okay? Would affect the productivity in Ghana, because now we are in the era being choked up with this COVID-19, okay? Yeah, okay? We've been choked up with this COVID-19, and things doesn't go, things doesn't count. Shouldn't be, in the sense that, yes, we are in this era, this serious, difficult time, and then extending all this. For what for?
I'm joined in the studio by Kojo Amissah, a strategy and performance consultant at SITAM, and also the president of Society for Human Resource Management Forum Ghana. You can also join us by sharing your thoughts and all your ideas on our social media handles. You can send me a WhatsApp on 0540 109009. I'm going to start with my guest. I'm going to find out from him whether or not paternity leave for fathers or paternity leave does it even work? You're welcome to the show. Thank you.
Thank you, and good afternoon to all viewers, especially my HR colleagues.
Like I indicated earlier, I said that the responsibility for children, because it's a woman who gives birth, etc., it seems more as if the responsibility lies heavily on the mother. Yes. We've done that over the years here in Ghana, but there are incessant calls for paternity leave. Yes. Is it feasible?
Yes, it is. And you have to look at the background of all of this. I think largely it's been a cultural issue. So when you go to the Western cultures, the guys are home throughout helping with child raising, whereas when you come to, let's say, the African culture, it wasn't like that in the past. But now there's a bit of a cultural blend from the West to Africa. So you're having men who want to stay at home and help with the childbearing. But even the traditional male, just take it for example that your wife gives birth and probably you are not on leave, you're at work, and they are calling you for emergencies because the early childbirth can come with a lot of emergencies. So you would not have the freedom or the free of mind to actually produce well at work. So if you have a couple of days, at least at the initial stage of the childbirth, to help your spouse to basically make sure that everything is out, then you'll be okay to help. So I think it's a good thing to propose to us because other countries have been doing this for years.
So if it is a good thing to be done, what nature should it take? Well, I don't know the details of what Vodafone and Guinness Ghana are doing. Do you perchance have an idea how they're doing this?
As for paternity leave, there are so many companies in Ghana doing it, but normally it ranges from 3 days to 5 days.
3 days, really?
Yes,
Seriously?
paternity leave is just 3 days to 5. So meaning the day of giving birth, maybe you need close attention, get a few things for your wife, bring her home from the hospital. Even if you have somebody who can do that, I think it's a nice thing for the guy to be at the hospital and all of that. So, but it's nothing more than a week.
No, but I think it looks like what Vodafone Ghana is doing, it's about there's about 4 months or so, and I need to check this.
I think that's maternity leave, which was 3 months, and a lot of companies are now increasing.
They've introduced a paternity
leave for 4 months.
Exactly.
I'm not aware of that.
Well, I need to clear that up. I need to look that up and clear it up. But what nature should it take? 3 or 5 days, really? Is that seriously anything serious?
Well, but you see, the genesis of maternity leave comes from the fact that a woman will go through physical, physiological, and psychological changes when they get pregnant and then when they give birth. So medically, they need time to recoup. And also, they are the immediate caregiver for the baby in terms of breastfeeding and all of that. So that is what. So the man is just to support, and especially we look at it from the immediate childbearing, right? The woman may need some help from the partner. So I think, personally, if anybody goes above 2 weeks, I'll be surprised.
If any organization goes above 2 weeks
for paternity, I'll be surprised because...
You don't think that makes sense?
Well, I don't think so. Okay. I really think, you see, there's a best practice. So go to several countries and see the way they operate paternity leave.
Can you share with us some of the best practices out there?
At least I'm familiar with a lot in the US because I've worked there for years. I've done HR work there and it's normally 3 to 5 days.
3 to 5 days?
3 to 5 days. You are supposed to, as soon as your wife gives birth, be with her, give her comfort and all of that. But it's the women who really need this, because if you give a man 1 month, seriously, culturally, the Western man probably will be home the whole 1 month helping with the child care.
Yeah, why not?
But the African man, I mean, that has not been. Now we are building ourselves into that culture. The way I handle my kids and the way my father handled me was completely free. Everybody loved their father, but they were not physically at home, but we didn't even realize they were not at home.
So isn't it the time now for us to begin to encourage that and encourage parents or fathers to stay at home more?
Yes.
Because, like you said, we haven't achieved that sort of bonding between fathers and children, perhaps because of some of these things. Because you have to go back to work anyway.
The issue of leave, right, deals with how do we do the actual work that the company wants to do, and also there's a cost associated with leave. But for the woman, because of all these physiological, psychological needs, I call it a public health issue. Globally, everywhere there are women, they have to go through this thing. But for the man, it is just a bit of comfort for you to be able to support your wife at the initial stages. So giving a man 4 months, I'll be surprised. The Vodafone one, I don't know about it, so I can't say.
I need to have
really
my
would be
production team check
surprised
that out
if
for me.
anybody is doing a 4-month paternity leave.
Well, I did see a post that they made yesterday announcing.
It's possible, but I'll be surprised. Yes. Yes.
But you talk about the cost involved. What will it cost organizations to look at paternity leave, and how can we mitigate that cost?
Okay. You know what? Let me take it from what people are doing, even for maternity and extending it.
Okay.
So what they are saying is the needs of the women in terms of physiological, psychological, and physical needs during pregnancy and childbirth are not the same for every woman.
Okay.
Even the standard 3 months that are given, there are some women that after 2 months they are ready to go to work. So what some companies have done is they've made it flexible. You can take all the way to 6 months, but maybe they pay you the first 12 weeks. And the rest of them, they can give you reduced salaries and benefits. And then you can also take extra time with no pay and benefit. So I think the paternity leave, if you want to extend it, probably you have to take the same approach. So let's say the standard 3-4 days, yes, is fully paid. But then the rest of it, you have to give them the option to want to stay home and look after the baby with their wife, or come to work and get full pay. Because I think you should also look at it from the company's perspective, where it costs a lot. If you are a high earner and you are going to stay home for 4 months, just assume you and your wife work for the same company. It's a huge cost to the company. But for
does it mean that organizations should be careful or should have categorization for this leave, so that if 2 people work in the same company and they're getting 4 months, then it shouldn't apply to people who work within the same organization?
That will also not be fair. You see, this whole thing, right? The reason why companies do even maternity leave, because I'm really taking everything from maternity leave, is for 2 reasons. One is a compliance issue. Almost every nation who subscribes to ILO has some number of, which is 3 months standard. Okay. And the companies who go beyond that, they do it for the sake of branding, to become an employer of choice. So you see some companies are extending it to 6 months for the women. And the reason for doing that is so that they can attract competent women. Because when you are there, you see that, the best place for nursing mothers is company A. And then you are a potential nursing mother, you want to work for that. So they use that to attract this thing. So it's branding. And the branding comes with benefit to the company. So then the question you ask yourself for the guy is, if I gave the guy 1 month free and paid him fully, what credit do I get as an organization? Does it help my brand in any way? Does it project me in a different way that will make me attract the right talent, and then probably
staff retention, for example?
Staff retention, right? So does it help in that direction?
It doesn't? Right? What do you think?
Personally, I don't think so. I think it's a bit...
Well, I'll just confirm for you, Vodafone. I just looked it up. Vodafone has actually... The 4 month maternity leave has been extended to male counterpart as well within the organization.
4 months?
Yes.
Fully paid?
Yes. I've looked up the story.
Good on them. The women, I don't have a problem.
Okay.
The men, I do. So what I'm saying is, if you have to do any such thing, maybe if there are, let's say, medical reasons why the woman really needs that close care, maybe you can. but sometimes it has to come with reduced benefit. I think for, you see, and all organizations are not the same.
Okay.
What Vodafone can afford, another company cannot afford.
Okay.
And
I'd like for you to, advise organizations on this particular issue. I see that you have your own bias as far as this topic is concerned. You don't think it makes business sense to make a man stay at home for as many as 4 months? Because it comes at a cost to the organization.
Okay.
And that's some organizations that actually do this. Sometimes it's for branding purposes, to put yourself out there as a company of choice, an organization of choice. That's if you can bear the cost.
Yes.
So for organizations that don't have the capacity, for example, of a typical Vodafone, what can they do to give fathers some time off? That's beyond the 3 or 5 days.
Yes, okay. So the way I want to look at it is not to take a position, but what is a best practice? Best practice is you have to have policies that are malleable. So it works for different organizations based on their circumstance. So what you could do as an organization, it says, we can give you up to X number of days or months in a year when your wife gives birth, where the X can be 12, can be 16 weeks. But then you also have to know how much of it you can pay. Okay. So you say the first 1 or 2 weeks, if I was advising a company, seriously, I'd say the first 2 weeks probably fully paid. If you want to extend it for this number of maybe reduce, and then maybe if it's after a month or 2 months, then probably you can do, because if you look at maternity leave itself, the biggest issue there is job protection. You don't want a woman to go and have birth and come back and has lost their job. So that's why we have laws in almost every country regulating it. So the guide to what you can do is job protection. You say if you need 3 months to go and sit at home and look after your wife, you can take that 3 months off and your job is protected. Okay. So after the 3 months, you can come back. I think that's a big help. But I really think just going off to full pay for as long as it depends on the organization, but every organization should look at it differently.
I see. What about the idea to extend the maternity leave for mothers? People have suggested there are gender-based groups that have been pushing for 6 months of maternity leave. Yes. Some are saying, at least 4 or 5 months.
Exactly.
What do you make of that?
I hear all these arguments, and you see, I'm not a woman, so maybe what I'm saying, you can correct me.
I will.
But I want to believe it. I want to believe that there are some women. Currently, we have 3 months. After 2 months, they say, I want to go back to work. There are some women that after childbirth, 2 months, when physically they feel okay, they want to go back to the office.
I don't know about any woman. I know some very strong women. There's one of our editors here, Martha Kakwenso, who when I remember the last time she was pregnant when I was around, she came to work and the next day we heard that she had given birth.
Yes.
So there are women like that, but I don't think even women like that will say, I feel strong, so I'm going back to work after you've had a child.
You think you haven't heard women complain after 3 months of maternity?
No,
wow.
I haven't.
Okay. However, what I believe is all women are not the same in terms of the way they react to maternity issues. So when you look at it, ILO and all other countries came up with this 3 months, okay, which is the 12 weeks. So I think that should form the basis of any decision organization.
Okay.
And then the rest, you make it flexible. Because if you look at UK, I forgot the exact timelines, but they have reduced pay and benefit, and then you can take extended
as long as 1 year.
You can take an extended one with no pay, right? So that if you really need that time off, you don't cost the employer too much. So I think to extend it, first and foremost, companies are already doing it, and it's for strategic intent. It is not the regulatory compliance. But if a regulator wants to come in and then put some rules around it, I think the rules should also create that flexibility so that my company, if I want to, let's say, so
I have the option to take it and forgo my salary.
Exactly.
I'll take your final word, but let me read a few messages that have come in since we started this conversation. I'm going to start with this one. It says paternity, oops, looks like I'm deleting something here. All right, just a second. Okay, this one says, I think men should be given paternity leave. It will help us, the men, to have more care for our children. I'm currently taking care of my 1-year-old child because I'm at home because of COVID, and it's helping my wife. Watching from Nkoko since that one in. From Pasolo says that the music father, for me, I propose 8 months for our nursing mothers. 8 months, well, that's a lot, and my guest here won't really agree with you that much. Maternity leave extension to 4 months is a laudable idea and must be encouraged. Moreover, COVID-19 has taught us that physical presence at a workplace is a thing of the past, and that no matter where you are, you can still function effectively, so it won't cause any organizational problem. I'm going to wrap up.
I think I would like to comment on this.
You want to comment on that one? Okay, yes. I just have to wrap up very quickly, so do comment on that briefly for me, please.
I think what the lady is saying, right, when you look at to help the nursing parents, I want to include both the man and the, it's more about the leave is one aspect of it, but the other one is flexible working arrangement.
Okay.
We are talking about COVID and work from home.
Yeah.
I have worked with women 20 years back who had, some of them were full part-time because they've had babies. They work only 4 hours a day and it's full-time with full benefits. Some of them too, you have 2 people sharing the job because they are new mothers.
Okay.
So instead of letting the woman stay at home, you can still get them because they have to build their careers.
Okay.
Some of them, you go home 6 months, you come back, people have worked on projects, have gained expertise. If the company's mindset is not the right mindset, you have been left behind. But if you create things like a flexible working arrangement where people can work from home, then it's not so much of stay home for 6 months. It's like, how can you work in a very comfortable way, even though you are home with a baby?
Okay, like I said, I'll take your final comment. I ran out of time. This one is suggesting that paternity leave should be for at least 1 month. It would help men to give a helping hand to our wives. Samokweku Ahanobe sends that from Aflao. This man says I'm one-sided on this. Okay, you're talking about Nilante Vanderfoy. Okay, at least 1 month you say should be good. If there is paternity leave, it will help mothers due to trauma, and they always go through. But let's wait and see the number of days or weeks it will be. Already there are political, promises attached to this, so we'll see how it goes. Let me take your final words, Mr. Amissah.
Yeah, so paternity leave is a good idea, but I think the duration has to be looked at carefully to not to overburden the organization. So long as you can afford it, why not? And also, organizations don't do things for free. There always has to be a strategic intent. So if you are offering free, let's say free paternity leave, what benefit are you expecting? Okay. And I think you want to position yourself as an employer of choice for doing some of these things.
Okay, thank you so much. It's been an enlightening conversation. I hope that we had a lot more time, and then we can take a lot more of the messages that are coming in. Kojo Amissah is a strategy and performance consultant at SITAM, also the president of Society for Human Resource Management Forum, Ghana. Away from that, Minister for Gender and Social Protection, Cynthia Mamle Morrison, says her ministry is in the process of providing safe havens for persons branded as witches after a tour of premises, in the northern, popularly branded as witch camps in the northern regions of Ghana. Cynthia Morrison says the brutal killing of a 90-year-old Ekuadente and inflicting of wounds on a 50-year-old woman at the Simpini in the Savannah region have heightened fears of many of these elderly women being integrated into their communities. But a better plan, according to her, is to create safe havens in these camps and provide them support to make their lives comfortable.
The only conclusion we have come to after even making the law is how to protect these innocent ones. A lot of them have refused to go home because of fear. Family have refused to also accept them. And where the family even wants to accept them, the society says no. If a daughter or a son follows the mother to the hospital when the mother is beaten up, or visits the mother in the camp where the mother is, the community refuses to accept that person back into the community because you have visited your witch, a mother who is a witch. It is a very dicey thing. What we are looking at is giving these wonderful elderly women a safe haven. What we are going to do is to renovate where they are, and some of them are integrated with the society. You go there and it is not a camp. There's a community living amongst the suppose, which is they go to the markets, they sell, they farm, they do everything. But the only thing is that they've been isolated from their families. They're thinking of giving them a better life. A lot of them tells us they are not on the leap, and that we are putting them on leap. Yesterday, I have to say it here, I cancelled their program because we want to save that money for our mothers in the camp. And they agreed with me. We clap for you. Even though they have not, clap for them. We are taking money from almost every part of our department. Social welfare, we are taking your money because it is even in your domain. Social protection, gender, Abena, you are giving, everybody is giving something. And then we'll come to Ministry of Information and get some monies. We add up and do something for them. We want to change their lifestyle and give them a better life.
That's a conversation we can certainly return to and expand. Right now, though, let me tell you about data collated by the Ghana National Household Registry. And the indication is giving that about 80,000 poor and vulnerable persons in the Greater Accra Region are homeless. According to a data dissemination report issued by the GNHR, 62% of the vulnerable individuals were female, with about 50% aged between 18 and 39 and about 20% aged between 40 and 59. 10% 60 plus and the remaining under 18 years. It also reveals that over 60% of these vulnerable individuals sleep in kiosks, containers, markets, uncompleted structures, and that exposes them to natural hazard. We'll have a conversation on these findings. And joining me in studio is Dr. Prosper Larry. He's with the National Coordinator for the GNHR. First off, he will explain to us what their mandate is and how that it affects the living standard of the vulnerable. Thank you very much for coming, Doc. So let's go through your mandate, just so for those who are not very familiar with this organization.
Thank you very much. The Ghana National Household Registry is a unit under the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection. Okay. And one of our key mandates is to be the center of targeting for social protection intervention programs, so that recipients of these programs will be rightfully targeted, and also as to enhance transparency in the process. Okay. So this research that you stepped out to do, what exactly were you looking for? Then we can talk about what you found. You know, one of the work we do is to create a database on which poor and the vulnerable can be rightfully targeted. And so we do data collection using a census approach. And Greater Accra was one of the areas that we decided to do what we termed it an emergency data collection, because we did start from the Upper East, Upper West, and now in the Northern region, using a census approach to be able to target almost every other categories there. But this exercise, our main target was the lockdown areas. Okay. Because you realize that even though Greater Accra does not form one of the highest poverty belts, but the COVID-19 pandemic exposed a lot of people to a lot of shocks, and especially people in the lockdown areas. And so as a ministry, our social welfare department, they have data, but it was necessary that we update our database with these poor and vulnerable groups within the lockdown areas in Accra.
Well, so you only stayed in Accra. I wanted to find out whether your mandate extends to the areas that I just mentioned, where your minister had been, the so-called witches camps. Does it extend to such areas as well, and would it be an area of interest to you?
Yes, currently that is the Northeast region. Data collection is ongoing in those areas. Okay. You know, GNHR started in 2015, and it was supposed to pick up data using the poverty profile. And you know, the poverty profile, you have Upper West being the very poorest, and we have completed data collection in Upper West. The next is the Upper East, and we have completed data collection there. We're currently profiling the Northeast, and we've done about 60%. And these areas, those are the people that their socioeconomic details will be taken, and under those profiling, they will be eligible for social protection support.
Let's look at what you found in this research that you did, without giving us the statistics, which tends to be a mouthful and sometimes a little bit, tiny bit confusing if you don't put it in perspective. How would you summarize what you found in a few words?
You know, in a few words, we've been able to profile close to 80,000. We've been able to find out the skills of these people, what they possess, their health status, what they are able to do. where they stay, most importantly. And you get to realize that these people, by updating them on our database, becomes a useful resource for us to use as a ministry and other stakeholders to be able to use this data for targeting of social protection intervention programs.
So based on what you found, how are we aligning our social intervention programs? Essentially, you can talk about the free SHS, that's if it falls within it. You can talk about LEAP, perhaps some others that you can bring our minds to. But how are you aligning the information you gathered so far from your research with the existing social intervention, social protection interventions we have?
As I told you, this was a data we did in line with our social welfare department.
Yeah.
GNHR exists to create a database which can be used. And so one of the things we'll be doing is that, for example, the World Food Program, in using this data with our department, is going to give out support to over 50,000 vulnerable groups. Okay. And the basis will be this data that has been profiled because their socioeconomic details have been taken. As I said, we have completed data in Upper East, Upper West, and now profiling Northern Region. So one of the essence is that people on LEAP and LIPW, I told you that one of their mandates is to be able to create a database that will be without bias and with transparency, so that when you are on this database, because we've been able to profile people scientifically according to their socioeconomic status, we categorize them according to poor, non-poor, and extremely poor. And of course, benefits must go to the extremely poor category. So it means that we have afforded another 80,000 vulnerable groups onto our database.
So these 80,000 people, where were they? Why were they not captured in the previous system that I believe we were operating with as far as our social protection interventions were concerned?
What I've said is that picking data is a very expensive venture that takes time. And so that's why we termed it an emergency data collection, because we are going through the poverty cycle. I mean, Greater Accra would have been the last place that we will get to, because you are not saying people are not poor in Accra, but what you are saying is that you want to get to the poorest of the poor. And so these are also people you should realize that when it comes to vulnerable categories, they are very transient. You know, today you can be very rich, sickness or something can change your socioeconomic status. So that's a very transient group.
What is the way going forward?
What we seek to do is to ensure that we work on the regions that are left, for example, Northeast and Savannah and Northern region where our data collection is concerned. You realize that data on the poor and vulnerable remains the biggest challenge. So going forward, we want to speed up these processes so that we can have a very credible and a very quick register in which the poor and the vulnerable can be well targeted.
For those that have taken the time to listen to this conversation, I mean, it's important to have data on which we can take certain action and all of that. But for those that are watching this interview that feel like there's just too much of, technical data gathering terms, etc., what do you want them to take away from this discussion?
One of the things they should know is that now there exists a center for targeting in which when this data is being collected, in fact, yesterday we disseminated our data because the data is as good as its usage. And so one of the things they should also know is that this data do not only serve for purposes of social intervention programs, but we have other indicators in which we know that the MMDAs are using it for their medium-term development plans. And so they can also go on the GNHR website once you want to know the details of this data. Of course, we will not give you data that will expose the individuals because beneficiaries have to be protected. But the non-anonymized ones that are aggregated into very quantitative terms that can be useful for other outlook and other planning, they are things that we can give out. So I think that we have a data sharing protocol, and this data that we share can be used by both civil society, NGOs, and both non-governmental agencies, not only the ones that we use typically for our social protection intervention programs.
Dr. Larry, thank you very much for coming through. Dr. Larry is the National Coordinator for the Ghana National Household Registry there under the Ministry for Gender, Children and Social Protection. And they've done some work that gives us an idea how many people are living, in poverty. And he says that by doing so, government will be able to target social protection interventions. Thank you very much once again for coming. But still watching The Pulse with me, Gifty and Doppia. I'll take a very quick break. When we return, we'll talk about the National Science and Maths Quiz. It is bouncing back this year despite COVID-19. It will certainly be different. I'll be engaging the 2019 champions from St. Augustine's College later here on the show. What has become their lives after the national exposure? Stay tuned and listen to them. Welcome back to the show. Many thanks for staying with us. Now, we're barely a week away from the start of the 2020 National Science and Math Quiz, and the dice has already been cast. Last year, St. Augustine's College had an impressive campaign to clinch the trophy for the second time, earning the bragging right as champions of science and math in Ghana. In 2017, the Seasiders failed to make it past the prelims. 2018, Wodiba SHS refused them a qualification to the national championship after they crushed them at the Central Regional qualifiers. But in 2019, 3 brilliant boys were selected through a rigorous process to redeem their college. Joseph Menu Afo, Anthony Papa Eliason, and Jimmy Stephen Newton took the challenge, putting up an exceptional performance right from the regional championship to the grand finale. We'll be having some time with these NSMQ stars on their exploit at NSMQ and life after the competition. But first, let's relive their winning moment.
We are going beyond it. We are beyond the skies. Eventually we won.
As far as I'm concerned, you are all champions. In my books, you are all champions. But I have to make some distinctions. St. Peter's Senior High School, you've done very well. Congratulations. But today was tough. The Egyptians were too strong. Never mind. You have earned 1,500 Ghana cedis from the GCB Bank Money Zone. Congratulations, third place. Prisek Legon, congratulations to you as well. You've done very well. You've done well. The opposition was great. Nonetheless, you have earned 2,040 Ghana cedis in the GCB Bank Money Zone. Well done. Congratulations once again, second place. St. Augustine's College. Congratulations on winning the contest. You did it. You have earned 2,340 Ghana cedis from GCB Bank.
Ladies and gentlemen, the new trophy for the National Science and Math Quiz is going to St. Augustine Senior High School.
I remember that day like it was yesterday, right here in our newsroom. We were all so excited. We were jumping here and there, and especially my colleagues who attended Ogasco, very excited. I have here in studio Joseph Menuafo, who has just joined me. Joseph, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, and I also have joining me on Zoom, Anthony Papa Eliason and Jimmy Stephen Newton on Zoom. It's good to see you guys. How are you?
I'm fine.
Oh, Newton, I can't hear you.
I'm fine.
Okay, so I don't know, but I'm really excited to talk to you, and I usually don't run out of questions or words, but it looks like I have just run out of questions and words. It looks like I'm feeling like I should just allow you to either talk to me or ask me questions. I'm going to start with you because you are here in the studio with me. Tell us, what's your story? Where have you come from? I mean, to where you are, I mean, maybe your JHS, and then what's your story?
I completed St. Martin Primary School in Dansoman.
Okay.
Then after that,
I'm not sure my viewers can hear you, so you have to speak out like you're chomping upon Presec.
Okay, I started from St. Martin Primary School. That's in Dansoman.
St. Martin's Primary School.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then after that, I moved to St. Augustine's College.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then in the first year, we were selected through a test to join the quiz team.
Have you always wanted to be a part of the National Science and Maths quiz?
Yes, I used to watch it at home before joining.
Okay.
Before
so you looked at it from at home, and then when you got to senior high school, you thought that this I must be a part of.
Yes.
I see. I'll come back to how that story, have gone so far. But let me ask you, Papa, as well. What is your story?
I came from Dani Memorial Montessori. That was my DHS.
Can you say that again?
I came from Dani Memorial Montessori.
Dani Memorial Montessori?
The name Royal.
The name Royal Montessori.
Yes.
So you're Daddy B.
I always wanted to join the science.
So you're Daddy B, right?
No, it's not an international school.
Montessori. Montessori is Montessori. Me, I went to Redemption Valley Primary School. Then I went to Kaneshi Cluster of Schools, JHS. So Montessori there, so Daddy B. Okay, please continue.
I'd always wanted to join the quiz team, but I couldn't join in Form 1. I joined in Form 2.
Okay.
And the story went on.
So why couldn't you join in Form 1? What happened in Form 1?
On that day, when I was going to write the quiz, the papers got finished.
The papers got vanished?
The papers got finished.
Finished? Oh, okay.
Yes.
How did the papers finish?
A lot of people had to join.
Okay.
A lot of people were there.
Okay. So Form 2, the story changed. How did it change?
I was recommended by my physics teacher.
Okay.
Mr. PP Gatia.
Okay, Mr. What? I don't know if I hear you properly.
Sorry, Mr. PP Gatia.
PP Gatia. Fifi. Okay, mention it for me again.
Fifi.
Fifi what?
Jetwa.
Mr. Fifi Jetwa. I want us to acknowledge them so that the other teachers will be encouraged as well to look out for such talent and to recommend them. So Mr. Fifi Jetwa, wherever you are, thank you very much for recommending Papa. So Papa, in Form 2, he recommended you, you tried, and then you got selected.
Yes.
Interesting. We'll come to the NSMQ story. Let me bring in Newton. Newton, you became a star of the game. And for some of us, we weren't even supporting Ogasco. We're supporting other schools because Ogasco namuhe. So we weren't supporting you. But Newton, you became one of the attracting factors to a lot of people to support Ogasco. What's your story?
Okay, so I came from St. Anthony's Basic School. It's in Nkoko, Eastern Region.
Okay, so your story sounds more like mine.
Yeah, I went to St. Augustine's College. Okay. For me, I was recommended by some teachers in Form 1. Yeah, so
you started your journey in Form 1?
Yes.
Okay. And then you joined the NSMQ. So let's look at the NSMQ. You had to go through a lot of training. You had to go do a lot of rehearsals, I believe. And then on that day, you went on the stage. Millions of people were watching you across the country. You have an auditorium that was so full. I want you to share the experience with me. Newton, do you want to start? Newton? Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so it was a great experience, but a lot went into the training. We started in Form 2 when our seniors were beaten in the regional qualifier. So we had to start our training earlier in 2018. Yes, so I think we had a lot of time to train. And then the nationals too, we did very well because we're able to do a lot of trial contests and then see the strength of many of the teams. So I think the trials and then the input of the tutors and other old students helped us to fine-tune ourselves before we came for the nationals.
But you in particular was a sub, and it was as if the crowd seemed to want to hear from you. Why were you a sub? I mean, was there any special reason why you didn't start? You were like the power bank.
No, we didn't actually plan. We had to employ every tool that we had to be able to win the national competition. So it was something that the tutors came up. We were all trained to go through the 5 rounds, not that any particular person was trained to specify in a particular round, but looking at things, our abilities made things suit to the round, so we were able to adjust ourselves and then make things happen.
Okay, Papa, let me bring you in. Were you intimidated when you got on the stage? You look at the people that were assembled there. You look at the other schools that have come, you know, the Jama, the cheers, it is finished and all of those. Did you feel intimidated at any point?
Before the contest, we went through a lot of training and trials, so it wasn't really something new. We had been doing it before an audience, but there was a bit of tension, and we managed to get over it.
How do you usually get over that tension? What do you do? How do you psych yourself to get over it?
Usually we talk to each other, and we say a little prayer before we start, and it kind of lifts us up.
Okay. You say one of those prayers for me before you go, and let me come to you here. Let me come to you here as well. What was going through your mind? I mean, when you got to the finals, and it was getting more and more complicated. You know, it was getting heated. You know that everybody in the world, you know, in the country is watching you. What was going through your mind at that time?
The first thing was to remain calm and not let the stress overcome us during the heat of the final contest.
Okay.
So we tried as much as possible to stick to our strategies, the one that we've been using so far.
So there's a strategy. Do you want to share the strategy with us?
No.
Hey, you're not supposed to share the strategy. Okay, so let's look at where you are now. I mean, it was a very exciting moment. A lot of people have said that. So we bring SHS students on stage. They talk a lot about math, science, but at the end of the day, we don't really track them to see how far they have gone in life. So I want you to share your story with us. After NSMQ, what has happened? You are at KNUST. In fact, looks like all of you are at KNUST.
Yeah.
Okay, and you are studying human biology.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit more about what you're doing now.
Okay, so human biology is medicine.
You need to speak up, or is that also a strategy?
No.
Okay, so speak up for me.
Okay, human biology is it's medicine. That's in KNUST. So after 6 years, you become a medical doctor.
Okay.
So that's in 2025.
Okay, so in 2025, you're looking to become a doctor.
Yes.
Oh wow! Is that what you always wanted to do, or your time at Ogasco and the NSMQ has something to do with it?
Yeah, it's kind of influenced it because I grew a love for biology during the contest.
You grew a lot of what?
A love.
You fell in love.
Yeah, with
biology in the course of the contest.
The preparation
and everything.
Yeah, learning for it. Yeah.
Biology. What's it about biology that intrigues you?
It keeps changing.
Biology keeps changing.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I see. And Newton, what are you studying as well at the KNUST?
Human biology.
Human biology. Okay, I'm seeing here MBCHB. What does that mean? Okay, Newton, if you can hear me, you are doing BSc Human Biology. Then there is MBCHB. What does that mean?
There is Doctor of Surgery and then Doctor of Medicine, but they are Latin words that are shortened.
Oh, okay. So you also, after 6 years, become a medical doctor?
Yes, please.
Amazing stuff. And I asked your counterpart here whether the grooming you went through and the NSMQ had anything to do with that. Did you always want to be a doctor?
No, partially the NSMQ had something to do with it.
Okay, Papa, what about you?
I'm offering electrical engineering in university.
Yeah, why electrical engineering?
I think I have a fondness with electronics and IT, basically those stuff.
Okay.
So I want to.
Okay, great. It looks like the distance gives us a little bit of hitches here, but that's okay. So let's talk about between the National Science and Maths Quiz and KNUST. You guys had a lot of fun. I want you to tell me about it. I heard you went to Dubai, you went to Cape Coast, you went to meet President Akufo-Addo. Share with us that experience.
Okay, it was all a new experience, and yeah, it showed us. It was very exciting. Yeah.
Had you ever thought of meeting the President of the Republic of Ghana until then?
No.
So what was the feeling like? I mean, I've worked at the Flagstaff House, the Jubilee House before, and you know, when you're entering that space, it feels, you know, there's a certain very funny feeling that comes with it, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
There was so much security there. That's one thing I noticed.
Okay.
Yeah. Then everything was just.
So when you met the president, what was going through your mind?
I was like, I was.
You had run out of words, just like you have run out of words now. I see. So tell us about Dubai. As for that one, I know you won't run out of words.
Okay, Dubai was a very nice place to begin with. Yeah, but there was one time I got lost in the marketplace.
You got lost?
Yeah.
In Dubai?
Yeah.
How come?
I went out around 5 p.m. Yeah, I was going to the marketplace. I took a train, but my phone went off during the journey.
Wow.
So I wasn't able to use the Google Maps to navigate around. Yeah, so I got lost for about 2 hours.
2 hours?
Yeah.
What happened? I mean, how did you get back to the hotel?
I had to, the trains it was a subway. It goes one way and comes back again. So I had to keep going back and forth and getting down at different places to see.
Yeah, because you couldn't remember where you got onto the train.
Yeah.
So how did you, I mean, I want to find out, how did you find your way back?
I had to keep getting down at vantage
different
points.
places.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you got down at all the stops.
Yeah, almost all the stops.
And then you finally found the one.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that Newton and Papa, you must have been worried sick, thinking, where is he?
Okay, they didn't know about it.
They didn't know?
No.
How did you keep it from them?
I was just going, like, that day we had a free ticket. Like, the ticket lasts for the whole day. A 24-hour ticket.
Okay.
So I just wanted to go out a bit.
So you didn't tell them, but you told them now?
Yeah.
I see. Papa, what's your own Dubai story?
Dubai is a very beautiful place. Aside the heat, very hot, but it's very beautiful, a lot of beautiful places. And yeah, we had fun, especially at the hotel. Especially
at the hotel? Give me one of those fun moments. What was one of the, I mean, just share one of those fun moments with me. Sorry, I'm inquisitive, just like you are with electricals. So.
Okay, I'll mention the food every morning.
Every morning there's food?
Every morning.
Boozing?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I know what you like, Papa. You like food. And Newton, what's your own Dubai and the presidency story. I mean, you became very popular. There was even an emoji of you and all. What was the feeling like when you met President Akufo-Addo? And then tell us about Dubai.
It was a nice feeling. Actually, my secretary was turning to opening the Flagstaff House or the Jubilee House now. So it was a nice experience. And about Dubai, it's a very nice place. I really like the science museum we visited in Sharjah too. Yeah, it was a nice place. We had we learned a lot of things there.
Newton, you are boring. People are talking about getting lost and adventure and eating. You are talking about science museum. But that's actually really amazing. Does any of you want to be president someday? No, not you. I say I doubt. Okay, so Newton, you don't want to be. You don't want to be. Papa, you don't want to be. All of you want to just go to the hospital and take care of people.
No, anything can happen.
Anything can happen. I like that. That's the spirit. Anything can happen. Okay, I just pray that you won't be any of the NDC or NPP. But don't worry. Let's take your advice for the National Science and Maths Quiz team from your school or from any of the schools that are coming this year. I'm going to start with you, Papa. That must be someone's mother. I think it's Papa's mother. Papa, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, is that your mom in the background?
No.
Okay, it's not your mom. Okay, so tell us, give us an advice for those who are coming to compete in this year's NSMQ. What will you tell them, both from St. Augustine's and those who are coming from other schools?
What I'll say is that whatever they read, they should really read about the applications of it, because this year is mostly going to be applied. And also they shouldn't be terrified of other schools. You should come prepared. You should know what you're about and come and give out all your best.
Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. And Newton, what advice do you have for them?
They should just keep a cool head and then enjoy the competition. Yeah.
They should just keep a cool head and enjoy the competition. Okay, and what about you?
Yeah, I also advise that they don't underrate any of their opponents so that they don't get surprised later on during the contest. Don't
underrate any of your opponents. Stay focused and enjoy the competition. And Papa, yours was what? To keep focused.
Yeah, they should know what they're about and
know what you're about. Know what you're about. I'd like to have this conversation all day, but I've run out of time. But then I don't want you to just go like that. There are so many people who watch you, so many people who watched you, and were very excited about you and about your story. Are the girls worrying you? Newton, I'm starting with you.
Not so much, yeah.
Oh, so they are.
Let me say, relatively they are, but it's not so intense yet.
It's not intensive. Oh, okay, that's nice. So what do you tell them? How do you ward them off? Or you just keep them as sisters? You sisters own them?
Something like that.
That's actually great. Keep it up. Keep sisters owning them. Papa, what about you?
Yeah, the same thing.
Hey. I mean, like, how does it happen? So when you went to KNUST, did they know you? And were they like, calling your phone or things like that?
Yeah, as for the calling and the unknown messages, we're all confused as to how they got our numbers. But it's normal.
It's normal, eh? Hey, Mr. Afo, is it normal?
Yeah, the same experience as them.
They don't know how they got your number.
Okay, one time I saw someone posted my number on Facebook.
They posted your number on Facebook?
Yeah.
So the girls have been worried because you are also very tall, so I'm sure they are worrying you a lot.
Yeah, it's the same as their own.
So you're also sister zoning them?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they're young men, so you guys are young men. Once you become medical doctors, I'm sure you'll find the right one. Maybe you even find it along the line. But thank you so much. I don't know, my producers, do I have time to take final words from them? Okay, apparently I don't. But this is certainly not going to be the last time. I'd love to have another session with you, gentlemen. Thank you so much for coming. Jimmy Stephen Newton is studying BSc Human Biology at the KNUST. He joined us by phone, Zoom. You see, the boys have gotten me confused. So, yeah, Jimmy Newton, one of the favorites from last year's competition, Anthony Papa Eliason, BSc Electrical Engineering, KNUST, and Joseph Menu Afo, BSc Human Biology. Gentlemen, it's so good to have you. Thank you so much for coming. Okay. Well, the broadcast of the 2020 NSMQ is brought to you by Bright SHS and DBS Roofing Papa Fie and Bright SHS. I'll tell you what offers they have for you. Just give me a second and I've got it right here. So our world is a complex one, and in it only smart and intelligent people win. Students are engaged at Bright School within well-equipped classrooms, computer science laboratories, and that's not all. We've got the facilities to ensure quality recreation. At Bright Senior High School, every student is a priority. So they say they pay attention to every one of them to address their individual academic needs. Admissions have begun for first and second year students who they also offer O and A level, SAT and TOEFL. Forms are available at all GC Bank and Zenith Bank branches across the country. Call them on 0277 147 727 or 0242 071 185. Email them at admissions@brightshs.com or visit brightshs.com. DBS, you can call DBS on 050-600-4141 in Kumasi and 050-600-4242 in Takrady. Now built around water but with no water to drain. That is the story of Ezile, a small town in the Western region. Hundreds of children spend hours fighting to fetch water every day. As part of the JoyNews Safe Water Project, Justice Bedu visited the community. Here is what he saw.
These are everyday scenes in Olubongada, a small village in the Western region. Getting water to drink is a daily battle.
This is all we drink, and now it is getting bad. Illegal miners wash their waste into it. People defecate around it. When we drink, all we do is to go to the hospital because we are always defecating and having many waterborne diseases.
All their problems aside, they have to deal with the waste that rising activities of Galamsey workers leave behind.
People in
Olubongada are in dire straits, sitting on a time bomb of water poverty where they are exposed to many waterborne ailments. The villagers here face another challenge. Waste materials from activities that come from the rubber plantations nearby are washed directly into this river.
Old season beer from October, grateful, or dam be or one factory. But say, what's warrior, what hopeful man will be dam na in Sufi waste, not chemicals na what they a Juma or dam factory one. You know, we go here in Sunumo. Oguyan Sunumo, then Sunin and color. Adan green. My promotion won't to one so one. This in Yama cried over Wadia on ye. ne bie mu nso nama o nsu mu okunkuni na mpo no nsu na nkasa no so kra baby a wa nipa wonanto wo kasa no so kwanowa.
The residents here are hoping their story will change soon. Justice Beidou, JoyNews, Olubo Ngada.
Justice Beidou put together that report, and thanks to Promasidor Ghana, producers of Cowbell. My name is Gifty and AFIA. It's always a pleasure coming your way. Let's do this again tomorrow, shall we? There's more news at myjoyonline.com.